Us now, Tennessee Senator Bill Hagerty of Senate Banking. It's great to have you back on, Senator. What's your reaction to this development? Because they're losing the pay-fors for this, right? They can't pay for it. So is this thing going to be dead in the water? What do you say?
Well, it's getting worse by the day. What we're seeing is the Democrats in complete disarray. The $600 proposal, whether it's $600 or whether it's $10,000, Americans do not want the IRS snooping in their accounts. I just had Treasury Secretary Yellen before me at the end of last month. What we heard from her was very disturbing. I asked her, what will you do to make certain that this information is kept safe? We saw what happened when taxpayer information was given to ProPublica earlier this year during the Biden administration. They did this to attack their political enemies. What's to keep this from happening again? Her answers were very, very unsatisfactory. I think the American public is rightly
Let's get rid of that banner.
concerned.
By the way, we're showing the wrong banner up there. It's an old banner. What's happening now is the news is coming in that President Biden is indicating that the Democrats' push to get the IRS to snoop up bank accounts is probably going to go away. So, you know, this is coming right when activists continue to bully. Again, they bullied Senator Kyrsten Sinema. We've got them stalking and bullying her for the second time this month. So you see how, you know, the viewers out there see this push that's probably going to fail of getting the IRS to stoop on their bank accounts just when activists are hounding and hawking senators like Kyrsten Sinema. What do you say to that?
Well, I say it's regrettable that this sort of behavior is underway, but this is typical of the way the Democrat activists have been behaving. What we need to do is step back and take a look at what's happening in our economy right now. Inflation has run away. The last thing we need is more government spending, and what they're trying to do is implement this massive big government socialist program. Bernie Sanders has said it. They want to transform America. This is not what the American public wants. They don't want to be snooped upon to make it happen. They do not want the socialist programs that are embedded in this.
You know, we had nearly 100 banks, industry groups, all 50 Republican senators led by Senators Tim Scott and Kevin Cramer introduced a new bill to block it. So again, if they can't pay for it, how does this thing fly, right? I mean, they can't pay for half of their $2 trillion in spending. That means this is really on the verge of collapse. That's the news here. Do you think it's on the verge of collapse?
It certainly is. And if you look at what's happening over in the House, they just keep cycling this thing back and forth over and over again. How many times is Joe Biden going to bring, you know, Joe Manchin down to his mansion on the beach? How often are they going to be able to pressure people? They're not making any progress with this because it is essentially a terrible bill. And moderate Democrats are waking up to this fact. The more that you and I can talk about this, Liz, the more the American public can wake up to these hidden proposals that are buried in this bill, the deeper the chances are that this will never make it.
The Democrats also wanted that wealth tax. That violates the 16th Amendment. You can only, under the Constitution, tax income, not paper gains and assets that have not been sold yet. It would force people to sell assets to pay Uncle Sam. It wouldn't just be billionaires. They would aim it likely at the middle class. It would violate the Fifth Amendment, the Takings Clause, so much more. So, by the way, why not, you know, cut back on government waste before you go after taxpayers? And you sent a letter to Senator Bernie Sanders about corporate giveaways to big tech in the spending bill that nobody knows about. What's going on there?
Well, Liz, first I'll say you're exactly right on cutting government waste. There is so much opportunity there well before we get into something like a wealth tax that is completely unconstitutional and unworkable. With respect to the letter I sent to Bernie Sanders, again, this is one of these hidden components of this massive 2,500 plus page bill. What we found out is that they actually blow the lid off of green cards. They're going to allow an unlimited number of workers to come in and get green cards at these big tech corporations. What they're going to do is take away the opportunities that our kids need to find their way into high-paying, high-tech jobs. I was just in Memphis last week talking with community leaders there, encouraging them to get middle school students, high school students engaged in STEM education so they could take advantage of high-tech opportunities. Yet this bill would allow these companies to hire foreign workers to come in and basically skim right off the top, work for lower wages, and take this opportunity from American children. They're putting the American dream in the rearview mirror.
We hear you on that. Okay, so all of that is going on, right? And the president has been yelling more and more, pass my agenda. He wants it done now before he flies off with his cabinet to a United Nations climate junket, but he says he has no time to go to the border. At that junket in Scotland, they're going to lecture Americans to accept new gas and carbon taxes when Russia, China, and India are not doing anything to cut their emissions, and China puts out more GSEs than the U.S. and the rest of the world combined. You know what I mean? So we see all this lecturing top down from the White House and the Democrats when Americans are saying, listen, what are you doing? What are you doing to the American worker, right, Senator? Your final word.
You are exactly right. This is just more misplaced priorities. Look, after the debacle in Afghanistan, Joe Biden has seriously disappointed his friends in the European club, so to speak. So he's looking to basically sell the American economy out, to show up there so he can say, look, I'm going to destroy the American economy, but I've got this Green New Deal to present to you. So he can join the Socialist Club of Europe, I presume. But he's going to do that at the expense of the American economy. I don't think the public's going to stand for this.
By the way, nearly 450 Americans are still stranded in Afghanistan, according to the Pentagon. Your final word on that, Senator, and then we have to go.
It's a debacle of epic proportions. People are going to feel the embarrassment of this, the failure of this administration for years to come. It goes back to Jimmy Carter's days until you could see something as bad as this occur. It's even worse than that. People are going to remember this for a long time, Liz.
Senator Bill Hagerty, it's great to have you on. I appreciate it. Still to come.